hello everybody. Today I want to take you through another part of the world of Lord of the Rings Online, or LOTRO. This is where the Midsummer Festival is happening right now, and this is a new festival. This is the first year that they've ever run this one. It is also happening at the same time as the Epic Line edition of the wedding between Aragorn and Arwen is happening. So there's a little bit of both going on at the same time, but Minas Tirith is the location, and it's pretty exciting looking over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go do a quick run through of Minas Tirith during the Midsummer Festival. So, and I've got, hello, we're going to cheer back at you. Hi. Excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you Minas Tirith. We're going to run through, and here I'm going to go ahead and get us there. And there's a couple different ways to get there, and I'll go over that in a moment. And then while we're running around, there are times when I'm going to switch us over and show you a document that I put together with my information on how to get around. So, and because like I said, this is the first year of the Midsummer Festival, a lot of us were putting together our own guides and trying to figure out how to get around. Where do you find all the NPCs? What's going on? What is the festival? So that's a compilation of my information, and then there are two other guides that I want to point out, and I'll point those out here in just a moment. All right, so we have arrived at Minas Tirith, and you'll notice that it said after battle when I was doing my teleportation there. And it is after all the battles are done, and we're celebrating, hooray, hooray, we have vanquished the bad things happening in the world. Although there's still some things left out there, so we're gonna have to come back to that. But anyway, first we celebrate. All right, if you come in by way of the milestone, you end up over there. If you come in by way of the Stable Master, you're going to land about over there. The first thing you're going to want to do is, and here, let's go ahead and switch over to the document. So in the Midsummer Festival, all the quests that you do, and it is the normal type of quest where you go, you pick up the wrapper, and then you go and you do 10 things. And then you do that 4 or 5 days in a row, then you get the next piece, and then you do that 4 or 5 times in a row, and you get the final piece, or maybe that's 3 times. But anyway, so each of the quests that you're doing are going to be worth 3 Midsummer tokens, except the wrapper, the daily wrapper itself, which is worth 5, and there's a couple other that are worth different amounts, but generally they're worth 3. To get here, you have a number of stable options. So South Bree is your stable master that you're going to use from Bree. Mickle Delving has one. I definitely check that. The neighborhood far-ranging stable masters have theirs. So there are a lot of different ways to get here, just like every other festival that you do in LOTRO. Once you're in Minas Tirith, the stable masters are, and this is where people start to get a little confused. These are troublesome times indeed. These are troublesome times, I tell you. You know, you've got to have all these wedding preparations, right? Troublesome times. The stable masters are not listed in order of location. They are listed here. Let me switch back to the other view so you can see when I pulled up the stable master list here, they're not listed in order of, you know, first, second, third tier, etc. So you kind of, they're alphabetical. So you need to figure out where you're trying to go part of the time. The other problem, and let me switch back to the document, is that it's sending you to various places, but it doesn't tell you, the NPCs will tell you go to the 3rd tier or whatever, but they don't tell you that that is the Craftsman's tier. So in my document, I did a cross-reference, basically, so I would know which tier is the tier I'm going to. So you'll see that here in my document. And I'm going to try and keep bringing that up for you, so if you want to do any screen captures or if you want to have this sit on the side while you run around, you've got that option for you. So before I get too much further, the two things I wanted to point out, sorry for the quick scroll, is Fibro Jedi at fibrojedi.me.uk always does amazing festival guides, and again, he came through with some fabulous stuff. This festival is bigger, I feel, than a lot of the other festivals have been, so there's a lot of information there and it can be a little overwhelming. Fibro Jedi has done a really great job of trying to make it as simple as possible for you to figure it out, while at the same time including all the information you want. Another group, the Fair Folk, TheFayreFolk.com, put together a 30-minute run-through. There are a lot of things you can do in this festival, but if you just want to get your 10 and be done with it, they put together this fabulous run-through, which then I took the information that I had already come up with and mushed it all together to come up with my version of the 30-minute run-through with all the little side quests that I sometimes like to do as well. So it comes out a little more than 30 minutes sometimes. But this is going to be your quick run-through. So we're going to follow this guide, the mushed together guide as it is. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is you need to talk to Phaelith down here. And she is the one who's going to give you the wrapper. There's Joyous in the... yeah, I think you can see it in there. Great. Okay. So she gives you the wrapper, and I'm going to run through this pretty quickly, but I do suggest on your first time through, you do go ahead and read what the NPCs have to say, because they have some lovely things, and you can tell that the developers who put this together spent a lot of time enjoying, you know, what's going on here. All right, so we are going to join in the revelry here, so we're going to accept the wrapper for today. So that'll give us 10 things. And let me switch back real quick. Shoop. There you go. Oh, I am huge. Maybe I not be so huge. Okay, so now you can see her doing her thing there. She's lovely looking, I can tell you that. So, and I don't recall if she changes her outfit day to day. A lot of the NPCs are changing their outfits day to day, which is kind of fun too. Okay, so we've picked up the wrapper from her, so now we can go and do our 10 quests. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is there's a quest giver on the very, very top. Before we go there, though, we're going to pop here into the Stable Master and do the ground level version. So let me go back to the game. So City Stables, which is the ground level here. We're going to pop in here, and people have been riding their horses in from all over. So it is time for us to go and help manage the city stables, because they have a bunch of horses that they need some help catching up on everything. So first thing we're going to do is she says, hey, can you give me a hand? And you, of course you say yes, because we are the helpful heroes of this neighborhood. We're going to run to the back where they keep the supplies and run up these little stairs. And here you're going to see the equipment crate where you're going to grab the brushes so you can brush these disheveled horses, and the crate of apples so you can feed the well-behaved horses. There are 3 horses of each type. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to run down this hallway. Here's our well-behaved horse. There are 2 horses down this hallway. So our well-behaved horse gets a nice juicy apple. You're welcome. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to brush this pretty horse. Hello. Yes, you look lovely. There we go. Now it kind of makes an H shape in here, the stables does. So we've gone and we've come through one side of the H. The other side of the H is over there. We're going to pop up here to the top because we have another well-behaved horse. They've already been groomed. They look great. And we're going to feed them an apple. And then we're going to scoot around the top and come down this final side of the H where we have 3 horses to take care of. So we have a disheveled horse over here. So we're going to groom you. It always makes me nervous standing at the back of a horse and brushing them. But you know what? These horses haven't kicked me, and I've been doing this for days. So we're okay for now. All right, so we fed that horse. And now we have one more that needs a little tidying. Let's tidy you up there. Good horse. Excellent. You look great. Okay, so we've taken care of our pretty horses. And now we're going to go over and turn that quest in. So nice and quick. Boom, boom. In and out, right? Let me get rid of all those. Oh, and my legendaries are going to level up a lot. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're done with quest number 1. 1/10 of the way done. Look how fast that was. So, back to our document, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the stable master, which happens to be standing right outside here, and we're going to go to the high stables. That's going to take us to the tippy top. One of the things you're going to do, though, is as you're going toward the top, you know how there's usually the animation where you get close, high stables. It's going to cost you 1 silver. We're going to dismount as soon as we load, because it basically the animation is taking us through part of this level that we don't need to go through. Really where we need to go. Oh, I'm still riding my goat. I'm going to fix that here in a minute. Been running around Moria and stuff. All right, so really what we want to do is we want to go up this ramp right here. So, and Minas Tirith is a little confusing at times. So basically you've got the different circles as you go around, right? And you've got the giant prow that comes out the front there. A lot of times you'll find yourself running underneath here and it has these really cool tunnels. So that's really what we're doing here, is that was a tunnel that was going to take us underneath that takes us right through. So what we really want, though, is we want to go up, 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 up. We are going up to the top. So that was the 6th tier that we landed on. We are going to the top, the 7th tier, which there is no stable master on top. That is the highest stable master we can get to. But that's okay. Like I said, this is right here. So notice that we kind of went up, we curved around, curved around. When you get here to the very end, it may look a little weird, but you've got these 2 guards, and that's kind of one of your visual cues that it's time to turn. And here we are. And all the festivities are happening up here. It's beautiful, right? So much going on, and they've spent so much time on this. It's just gorgeous. So the first people you run into here are Marilyn, who is our Midsummer wedding planner. And then we've got the Midsummer barterer. So once you fill up on your tokens, you're going to want to start spending on things. And there's a lot of really cool stuff. You've got your cosmetics, so that you've got your wedding garb. You've got some cosmetic pets to get. You've got 4 different steeds, and you can get both the regular version and the war mount cosmetics for those steeds. You've got a couple of fireworks, and those are a deed. So you do that 25 times, and you get the permanent emote or permanent ability to do that firework. You got a couple of emotes, the coin toss one and the wine tasting emote, and you'll actually get to see those as you go through here. So that was really clever of them. They added that in. And then you've got some really fun housing decoration items. Specifically, you've got some food, platters and whatnot that match the things you find in the festival. So that was really cool. You've got some lanterns that you see around here in Minas Tirith. You've got these lanterns, and you can get the closed, the half open or the fully open versions. Got a couple of those at my house. And you can buy the music for your house. That was something they added on during the festival, and it's wonderful because the music here is just amazing. Okay, so we're going to talk to Marilyn here. This is one of the reasons we came up here. She is our quest giver, and you'll notice she has quite a few things she wants us to do. So we're going to skip over lightning in a bottle for a moment. We're going to talk about something floral. She wants us to go to a very specific place and put out 6 floral arrangements. All right, yes, we want to do that. And also, to the last drop, she needs the perfect wine. So she is sending us down to the Splintered Shield, and we're going to look for the perfect wine. So yes, we want to do that too. The next thing, wedding supplies. There are wedding supplies all over this town. We need to pop around and look for them. So yes, we will do that for you. And what ails you? There are 4 barrels of ale from 4 different establishments within Minas Tirith. She would like us to go and pick them up and bring them back up. Absolutely, we are happy to do that for you. And before we get too far, we should dress for the occasion. Excellent. All right. There we go. And also, you can see these are cosmetics from the festival. So this is one of the dresses you can purchase. This is the veil, and then also the floral flowers. I've dyed them all, and you are welcome to contact me, and I will give you more information about which colors I used. I don't want to pause here. Let's keep going. Now, lightning in a bottle. She wants you to go out, and this takes you out of Minas Tirith. There are 4 different locations around Middle Earth. One's in the Shire, two of them are in Eredluin, one's in Bree. And you have to go when it's nighttime. So right now is not good because it's dawn. And you would go and you collect fireflies of a particular color at that location, and then you bring it back to her and you say, here's the fireflies, and she says, oh great, take those somewhere else here in Minas Tirith and put them out. So I have done that. It gets you a cute little title. We are not going to do that because that is not one of our 10 core items that we're working on today. Okay, so, we need a better horse. We need a prettier horse. Let's go with the Steed of the White City, because that's where we are. Okay, so now we have talked to those ladies, and we've gotten everything we need from our quest giver there. Over here we have a cook, and he wants to get known in the city, and so he wants us to bring some samples to some nobles. Yes, we would love to do that for you, sir. And then we're going to pass right over here. Now here's another visual cue. We've got Frodo and Sam standing there in their cute outfits. So we're going to turn here, and that's where we find the Florist. She's got a couple of things going on. First of all, she needs to put some flowers out. She's a florist, of course you do. So we've got 5 floral arrangements we're going to do for her. Those are in a multitude of different locations, but it'll be fine, it's on our way. The last one is Floral Crowns, and this is, her daughter is down on the ground floor, and she's playing around, and she's been instructed to go do some stuff, so we're going to go and check in on her and see how that progress is going. Now, the Floral Crowns is not one of the ones that you're going to do if you are going just strictly for the quick 10 and the wrapper done. So I go ahead and pick it up. It's one of my cute little diversions. I enjoy doing it. So we'll probably do that. All right, so we have, one other thing they recommend in their quick 30-minute video is, or 30-minute quest, is if you have done the epic line, you can pop in the after wedding meal celebration is going on, the reception and whatnot, and you can go and do a quick quest there. That can be one of your 10. I have not been doing that. I'm pacing myself on the wedding because it's really fun and I want to make sure I enjoy it on all my characters. So I'm not going to do that, but that is one of the 10 that you can do. So that would be, do the quick wedding quest. That's number 3. We're skipping that. Okay, so now their suggestion is you stable down to the soldier's tier. So there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either go back the way we came, which at first you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so turned around. How do I get there? Well, there's the big balcony prow that, you know, that stretches out. So if you've gotten to there, you can use that, or if you see that, you can use that as kind of a guideline to know that, and then here's our wedding planner, here's our barterer. That doorway there is how you get back to the ramp that will take you back down to the stable master. That is one option. Or if you're a high-level hunter, you might have, I don't actually know. What I have been doing is, I'm a sucker for the milestones. So I've just milestoned my way around. There's only one milestone here, and it is back down to the bottom. So we could do that. I'll tell you what, though, I'm not going to do that. I'll go ahead and do it the way that they have us in the guideline, in the guidebook. So, zoom, zoom. All right, so we're back here to where we found the ramp going up. And it's a little hidden, so if you don't know where to look for it, it can be hard to find at times. But you've got a whole bunch of flowers, you've got some banners, you've got a lot of fun stuff going on there. If you're in the middle of the wedding quest, there'll be a big pile of blue stuff here. That can be another thing to look for. And also, if you find yourself going through the tunnel, that's another way to find it. Okay, so, oops, sorry. I stopped moving. Okay, so we are back to the high stables, and here's our stable master lady. So, following our directions, we are now going to take the stable to the soldier's tier, which is tier, it's the first one off of the ground, or the second tier. Da, da, da. The music in here is so beautiful. They're going to have it out on YouTube. LOTRO is going to put it out on YouTube with the composer. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, so first thing we're going to do here is we're going to follow our directions. Stable to the soldier's tier and pick up the quest from this guy right here. He is an artist and he is inspired. So he needs us to grab some charcoal and some clay and some flowers. So, and those are, thankfully, right on around here. There's 2 of them on this level and 1 on the level right above. What they want us to do next is head south. And I put south on here because they say turn left. That's also south. So if you are using your mini radar, you can see that we are going to go south here. There we go. Off we go. Let me put myself on run. So, boop, boop, boop. Heading south. We're going to pop in. We're going to go all the way to the end. And this is the reverse order of the way they recommend. But I don't know. It just feels, it meshes well with my way of thinking. So to go all the way to the end and then work my way back. So that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go all the way to the end. And they mention this in their guide also, that this is probably the longest amount of writing that you are going to do, which is possibly true. So we'll fast forward. Not quite there. Go around the statue. And we've got our plaque there, so we know we're close. And it is right here at the top of the stairs. So hello, mock and keep. We only have one thing we need to do in here, and that is to grab one of the barrels. One of those 4 barrels that she wants us to pick up. And thankfully, it is right there. So this one is super easy to grab. Very quick in, quick out. Don't even need to talk to anybody. Now, if you do go into any of these and you get lost and you cannot remember where to find their barrel, thankfully there's usually somebody here who will say, ah, you're here for that. It's right over here. So they give you a little bit of help on that, which is great, because there were a couple times when I could not remember where to find a barrel. I think it's on one of the higher tiers, and they were able to guide me, which was very happy, very useful. All right, so we are done in the Mumok and keep, right. Now, get back on our pretty horse. And we are going to run over here to the Splintered Shield. Now the Splintered Shield will, oh, hold on just a moment. All right, the Splintered Shield, you've got a handful of things you need to do over here. You're going to have 3 or 4 quests that you interact with in here. So it's really good value for your time. So we're just going to make sure that we have a door we can go through. Excellent. So when you run in here, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go up the stairs, which are over here on your left. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Notice there is a flautist there. We're going to come back to her in a minute. Up the stairs where the sun's shining in, and there's this poor guy sitting at the table. This poor flower peddler, and you really should read this. It's hilarious. But basically, he's been drinking too much, and things are loud, and so he gives you some coins and says, can you go give some coins, throw some coins at the musicians nearby, and ask them to shush. So that's the first thing we're going to do here. And let me go ahead and close that so you can get better screens. So the first one you see is right here, not far from our quest giver. And they say things like, oh man, you're shushing me away, you meanie. All right, so we go back down the stairs, and we're going to encounter musician number 2, which is this person playing for these folks here on the landing. And they also have fun things to say, so make sure you stop and read what they're saying the first couple times you run through here. Here's number 3, over here by the wall with all the shields. All right, and then we turn. Now, if you're doing the festival, or sorry, the epic line with the wedding, you will find Gimli over here. He is not here now, but if you are looking for him, that's where you will find him. Musician number 4, over here by the fireplace. Do you have any idea who I am? I'm afraid I don't frequent this establishment. I do not know who you are. Well, I have to say, during the Midsummer Festival, I have been frequenting this establishment. So I should know who she is by now, I suppose. We've met for like 20 days or so. All right, we've got a harper into this little room here with the sleeping area. Ah, he's just about to sing the ballad of the rotted fruit and the honeybee. I really want to know how that song goes. So now there's a second room down there, but there's nothing happening in there, so we are not going that way. So we've made a U-turn. We're headed back out, but first we're going down into the basement, where we have our musician number 6, a minstrel. All right, so that takes care of that. We're going to go and return that to the quest giver, and we're done. We have 2 more things we're going to do here. We have, remember the 4 barrels? Well, there's one. So this will be barrel number 2. So that's 2 barrels on this level, which is great. There's also a secret little thing happening back there. I'll leave you to check that out. Now, this is something that took a number of us a lot of times to figure out, but Fibro Jedi had somebody who gave a clue. All the glasses that you see here are in the same position every time except one. One moves around. So once you know the pattern, so this one is kind of, it's like constellations. So for me, there's a V here, so it's not one of those. And then over here, there's a line that trickles down. Oh, I am not 100% sure which one it is. I think it's this one right here. So we'll double check this. So notice that I am doing a little wine tasting. This is the wine tasting emote that you can purchase with festival tokens. Let's see if I got it right. I did. It is a taste of smoke and apricot. Apparently that is what you desire in your wine. All right, so we hop over the table, or at least I do. Grab the barrel of wine, and you are done in the basement. So again, you can see the glasses where they exist right now. That is the main pattern. So if you find any glass that is out of that pattern, that's the one you're looking for. But the first time you do this, you should actually click on a bunch of them because the commentary is hilarious. It has sapped all joy from your life. I mean, there's some great stuff there. All right, so the last thing we have to do is, remember our sore-headed flower monger is back upstairs. So we want to return to him and remind him that no, we are not his wife, but we have asked everybody to be quiet. So there we are. And he gives us 3 tokens and some legendary experience if you are a legendary holding person. All right, so we have completed Toss a Coin, and that is our second Midsummer Festival item done. So that was quick and easy, right? All right, we're gonna head back out. And where do we go next? Okay, so we have done everything that was mentioned in the, where'd it go? There we are. We did the Mumakan Keep. We did Splintered Shield. So we're done with that. So their suggestion is you go back up to the Stable Master and take the Stable Master to the Craftsman's tier. This is where I go off book slightly, and I will show you why. So back on the horse. So I really am enjoying the festival. I think the way they have decorated is amazing. The music is, I mean, I find it myself humming it day and night, and I don't mind. Oops. Haha. There's a little gotcha. When you come out of the Splintered Shield, you have to make a U-turn, and occasionally I forget to do that. So there you go. Don't be like me today, be like me yesterday. When you come out of the Splintered Shield, you want to make a U-turn and head back to the north. If you get to the Mumakan Keep, you'll realize you've done it wrong. Maybe that's why you do the Mumakan Keep second. I like doing it first, though. I like getting it out of the way. Okay, so we're going to run along here. The thing they want us to do here is to return to the Stable Master and take that directly to the next tier. What I like to do, and I'll show you here on the screen, I'll go ahead and keep going, is I like to go ahead and keep writing through this because I think the music and everything else is just, it's worth taking a look at. So, oops, got a turn. There we go. So we're going to go through the tunnel. Now I've noticed occasionally it's been taking a minute to load occasionally when you come out of the tunnel. So we're just going to wait a moment till the floor shows up. There we go. All right. So now you get these really cool garlands hanging down. If you do your camera at just the right angle, you can have the garlands go through your face. There we go. I find that highly entertaining. All right, so we've gone past the Stable Master, and we're driving ourselves to this location. All right, so what are we doing here? Well, if you had taken the Stable Master over to the Craftsman's tier, which is the 3rd tier, what you would have done is turned around and come down this ramp right here, which would have brought you over to this fellow. He is the gardener. He is one of the 3 people that you need to collect an item for the artist in the artistic direction quest. Another thing he has that you can pick up, and this is a side quest that you don't want to do if you're only going with the half hour, but there's a garden nearby, and he is wanting it to look a little pretty. Take care of that. Now, one of the other things we're going to do while we're here, however, is we are going to do the Worried Woman quest. So that's this lady over here. And the dogs are having a bit of fun with her. One of them has taken her ring. So there are dogs running around, and maybe you're good at this. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. Today might be a not. Ah, he's too far away. Basically, you chase him down, and one of them's got the ring. All right, this hound has no ring, which I think is kind of funny because he's got a ring over his head, so I think that's the humor there. There's a hound over here that just paces up and down the stairs. That's the one of the three that's listed. And, oops, sorry. Let me put that back. There we go. And then there's one over here that's sleeping. He is probably too lazy to have that ring. So now you have to chase somebody running around has the ring. And you can see them on your mini radar. So that is one way to try and catch them. Or you can just try to get next to them and, hit your button. Sometimes I'm better at this than others, and I apologize for the screen going everywhere if you get vertigo. All right, that hound does not have the ring, I have been told. Let's try this one over here. Sometimes I can follow and catch it right away, and sometimes it takes a little longer. Oh no, I went to the wrong one. All right, well, we'll try that again. Do you have her ring, lady, buddy? Chase that hound. I am chasing hounds. All right, he doesn't have it. How about this one? Do you have her ring? Bring, yes, okay, good. We found the ring on one of the dogs. Bring the ring back to the Worried Woman. There you go. She's like, yes, that dog thinks this is all very funny. I agree, I think you're right. Okay, so we have finished that, and that is one of our 10 quests, because that usually does go pretty quickly. So now we're up to 3 completed quests already. Not bad. So from our document, we go back up the ramp. And in the document, back up, we are going to want to, what's up here? Cool. Let's see where we are. We've done the Craftsmen here. Pop down the ramp to the gardener and do the Worried Woman quest. Now we go back up the ramp to the 3rd tier. We are here. I like to do the side quest, which is to go and take care of that garden for him. So we're going to pop over there and do that real quick. If that is not something you want to do, you want to stick with the basic 10, don't do this. While we're on our way, though, we're going to go ahead and do number 9 real quick, which is to go by the House of Craft. This is a location that has a lot going on as well, kind of like the Splintered Shield did. The potter is one of the 3 people that we need to talk to. So you'll see that she's got stuff for that artist. Remember those wedding supplies? Here's some of them. They do respawn eventually, but the ones that you have already clicked on, it appears to me that you cannot re-click on those. So you have to choose 5 unique ones for you. But if somebody else has already gotten one, you can come back later and it'll be back for you. So here's the House of Craft. We're going to pop in here. Again, we're on the 3rd tier, which is known as the Craftsman's tier. And in our document, they have us do the potter, but we don't do any of this side quest stuff that's on the inside. Okay, so a lot of this you could just skip right by. But I would suggest if you have the time, pop in. It's good stuff. There are 2 wedding supplies in here. Notice I came in and went to the left. Okay, so let me kind of give you a little orientation of where we are here real quick. So there's the door we came in. As we're coming in, we've got stuff over here on the left, we've got stuff over here on the right, and we have stuff straight ahead of us. There is a lot of craftsman stuff happening here. There are workbenches, there's forges, there's ovens, everything you could possibly want to do, you can do in here. There's even a vault keeper. So everything you need is right in here. Postmaster is right here. They have some letters that need to go to some healers. That is a side one. That's not part of our core 10, so you don't have to do that if you're not focusing on that. But it is a sweet quest, and so I like to pick it up. Wedding supplies. A second set of wedding supplies, also on the left side. The first one was earlier on, back at the beginning of this little cutout, and this one's at this part of this cutout. There's stuff going on upstairs, but it is not pertinent to the festival, so we're not going to go up there. Here's your Vault Keeper if you do need any of that. Now, the marriage white here. So you may have seen people collecting various kinds of boxes if you're doing different quests. Those come to this lady right here. So let me see if I have any that I can show you really quickly. I have been collecting them. I'm a tailor, and a tailor can make, for the wedding festival, the banner of the newlywed. So when you collect these kits, you then go to your, workbench and you create them. So then you've got, depending on how well you do, whether you crit, you've got 1 to 3 of them. I've done a few of them over time. So I have 22 banners of this, which will get me through this festival and beyond. That is banners of the newlywed. So I'm going to say, yes, I will accept your quest. She would like 3 banners. And I will say, guess what I have in my pocket right here? Boom. Done. So you can do that, and it's nice to team up with friends who also have other abilities to make things, so you can swap back and forth, and maybe you can do all 4 of those at once. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to show you around. But that's where you turn those in. You can, from her, you purchase the recipe, so that way you know how to do that. The recipes are not bound, so if you are asking your friendly, metal worker to make some of the horns for you, you can grab the recipes and send the recipe to them with the other things. Here in my document, I really struggled to figure out who does what, so I went ahead here and listed out what was going on the 3rd tier, and I figured out without a hitch, which was what we just did, inside the House of Craft on the 3rd tier, near the ramp. You picked this up from Methland over there, Melfland. Celebratory snack can be crafted by cooks. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my document and you are not. Here we go, without a hitch. So those are the ones that you get to turn into her. Cooks can do the celebratory snack. Centerpieces are done by scholars and jewelers. Banners are tailors and woodworkers, and the drinking horns can be done metalsmiths or weaponsmiths. So it's a way to get everybody involved regardless of what your profession is, so that's kind of fun. But you might be going and doing other things that give you these kits, and you don't have a way to work with them, so that's where it's great to team up with somebody in your kinship or a friend or whatever, so that way you can make these and then trade them back and forth with each other. She always needs 3 of a set, so 3 drinking horns, 3 banners, etc. So trading those with your friends is useful, or if you have a bunch of alts, that can also be good. Okay, so while we were chatting, we came all the way down to the garden, which is, let me show you on the map. Maybe I'll show you on the map. There we go. We've gone all the way to the end of the tier, and that's where we found this pretty garden. So here we're going to do, and it's going to dismount you. We're picking out pesky weeds. We're going to do 5 of those, and we're going to water some poor neglected plants. So really you just wander through this garden, find a thing, water it or pull it, depending on what it is. And you'll notice I kind of went around to the right side. That's my preferred, is to start kind of going around to the right. And then we cut through. So the way back out of the garden, the way we came in, is straight ahead of you. So we're going to go over here to the left now. And we're going to find 3 weeds and plants to manage over here. So for the music, they took a lot of different areas like Rivendell, and they made it a celebratory. Oh, this person's wearing one of the items you can get in the craft and the stuff. Okay, that's one of the items you can barter for with the festival tokens. Anyway, the music is they took some of the existing music and made it very festival oriented. But then they also have some music that was done just for the festival, particularly the part where Arwen is walking up the aisle. They did a piece of music for that involves a woman singing some high soprano stuff, and it sounds very elvish, and it's really well done. I'm not a huge soprano sound aficionado. It's not my thing. But I love that piece of music when it comes up. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, I should probably double check, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, Growing Pains. That's the one we're doing right there. So that is the gardener that asked us to come and tidy up that garden, that well-used garden. So we have done that for him. So because, like I said, it's one of my little side quests, I'm going to go back to the ramp. I'm going to pop down the ramp and hand it in to him. And you can see that in my document. Not on that part of the document, you can't. So hang on, I'll fix that in a minute after I navigate these huge pillars. You can get one of those for your house, and wow, is it big. All right, let me scroll back down to the bottom. Oops, that won't get me through. Right. Trying to multitask here. So, all right, we have made it back to the stable master. So we know if there's a stable master, there is always a ramp nearby. But here, what we've just done is pop down the ramp to pick up the stuff from him. We went back up. I've done the side quest. Now I'm going to return and drop that off to him. We've already gone ahead and done those parts. So when we get back up here, because we're just really writing down, and then we're just going to turn around and come back up, and we're going to go left. Okay? So we'll show you that here in a moment. So I overdo. I do more than 10 because I don't mind getting the extra tokens and being able to buy absolutely everything I want to buy. And in fact, I've gone back and I've overdone. I've maxed out on tokens a couple of times, I think. So you may find that if you are a festival junkie like me. But there you go. See, I'm already at 5 of 10. I think in our 30-minute walkthrough, you would be at fewer than 5 of 10, probably 4. But that's okay. You'll catch up pretty fast. Okay, so like I said, we came back up the ramp and we've turned left. Now, what we're looking for over here is Cyril, and she is the cook. She's, there we are. She has the charcoal that our artist would like to use as his medium. So I'm playing over on the legendary server, and I was hoping that we would get a little bit less lag, and strangely, we're getting more lag today, so that's weird. It's been really lag-free. It's been really delightful to be able to just run through here and see everything. It's really so pretty. Okay, so as you're coming through here, oh, noes! You hit a black screen. It's okay. You can see on our mini radar, we are very close. She is right up here up ahead. So the oven does kind of take a few minutes to resolve sometimes, and then she was having some issues where maybe she was dropping through the floor. But she is fine now. What I found that is if she's not there, if something happens, just go somewhere else, go through a door, do something in there, come back out, and sometimes she'll be back. Okay, so what we're doing here is we picked up the charcoal that our guy needs. The other thing we're going to do here is we are going to actually do her quest. So let me go here. And we're going to feed the guards. That's her request to us. So she says she has some sweet treats and she feels bad that the guards are not getting the chance to go and partake of this festival. So she wants us to go and help them out. So right behind her, we have a plate of pastries that she's going to give to us. Once we have picked that up, we can go and hand those out. Now, this person just popped into here and I know where they're going. They're going to pick up those wedding supplies that I wanted to get. We might try and see if they're there when we come back. We're going to try and beat them to the next set of wedding supplies. So again, I have turned south, or as it curves around, but still the south. You know. So there is a set, so as we're coming along here, we've come to a set of stairs. There are wedding supplies over here. We're going to grab those. And let's see if we can get there before this other person does. Oh. There are wedding supplies across from that first place that we just went to in this little alcove right here. All right, there we go. I don't feel bad because they'll be back up for that person. They'll be able to get these in a few minutes. So that's our 5 crates. We are done with wedding supplies. Now all we have to do is turn it in up on top. Hungry guards. There are 4 of them. 2 of them are south of our lovely cook lady, and 2 of them are north. So there are 2 ways to get through this area here where we just fed the first guard to her south. You can go that direction or you can go this direction. I'm going to go this way because it's a little simpler at the moment, but if you like going through the garden, it is really pretty. It is definitely worth taking a look, but here we just made a quick little L shape to get out of here. All right, while we're down here, we have, wait, let me double check the map. Don't we have one more guard? Where are we? We are, oh, I missed a guard. That was the southernmost guard, my apologies. We are going to pop in here to the Merry Swan. And why? Why would we bother to go into the Merry Swan? Let me tell you. While we are in the Merry Swan, we are going to do the Merry Swan, which has 2 floral arrangements and a barrel. So we're continuing on with a quest that we have already started. The Floral Arrangements one and the 4 barrels. So what ails you? And the other one. Okay, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, we'll just leave that up. So Floral Arrangement number 1. And this is again for the Floral Arrangement quest where we have to do 5 of these. So Floral Arrangement number 2. Let me tell you, this band, these guys are rocking. I mean, look at this crowd. They're pretty happy. All right. We're going to jump over a couple chairs. Go around that light pole, because if you try to go through here, you'll get stuck. Not stuck, but you have to go around it. I get caught on light poles all the time, so that's not unusual for me. All right, we have picked up our 3rd out of 4 barrels of ale. So we came in, and remember again, if you cannot remember where to find something, you can ask your friendly person behind the bar, and they will tell you where to find it, and they'll tell you all about their ale too. So that's cute, and it's fun to read. But when you came in, you did your 2 floral arrangements up here, you did your barrel over here, and now you go back out the door. I used to do it in the other order, but I really liked the way that those other folks, the fair folk, came up with, so I do it in that order now. I like it a little bit better. I used to do barrel then flowers, now I do flowers then barrel. Yes, the big decisions you must make when you are playing Lord of the Rings Online. All right, so we have popped down into here. So remember, we were in the middle of feeding those guards. We have fed guard number 1. Now we have to find 3 more. And they're always pretty much in the same general location. So guard number 1 is usually hanging out around this pillar. Guard number 2, we're going to go back to the game. Boop, boop, boop. We'll see on the radar is around this area, I believe. Where are you? Oh, the guard's having a little trouble today. They've been working hard, I'm telling you. There he is. Ah, he's ice skating. That's why we're having trouble finding him. When you're skating around Minas Tirith, you know, you hide easier. All right, so he doesn't have a ring over his head right now, you'll notice. Sometimes you'll get that, so you'll have to just wait. He's not hungry yet. Now he's hungry. Oh, no, he's too far away. Come back. I have some food for you. All right. And they say nice things. Some of them are like, oh, that's so lovely. Thank her for thinking of me. Things like that. So, all right, we're going to go past her. There's our cook. There's our pastry chef. And find the other 2 guards, which are north of her. Now, note, there is a ramp here. We are going to be taking that in just a moment. After we finish her quest. Hello, hungry guard. I might have something for you, should you desire some food. Aha. I note that you are peckish. Have a nice pastry. And number 4 is coming up here, around the pretty fountain, back up toward all these garlands. And this guard will be in this area, and often they are lately hiding up here. They're watching things from the top. I don't see him up there, so sometimes he's also out here. Ah, here he is. Hello, hungry sir. Did that count? Nope, too far away. We'll try again. That's so funny. Usually they stop walking when you grab them, so that's not usually a problem. Okay, we have delivered 4 pastries, so we just got to go back and let her know. And she will thank us and give us some festival tokens. So there's one of the hungry guards that we passed before. We have already given them a treat. They are no longer starving. And yes, this is a functioning oven, so you can come and do cook stuff if you want to. I did that during the tournament on Bombadil. All right, so we finish up with her, and she says thank you very much, and she gives us some festival tokens. And now we are going to head up the ramp. So let me bring up the document. All right. So we have done, whoop, U-turn. Okay, so this ramp you want to go, yes, part way up, and then you make a U-turn, and then you get to this landing, and you stop and take in the view because it is just something else. Like, wow. You know somebody spent a lot of time on that. Oh, I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but this is the music that they did for the wedding that they added in. So pretty. Okay, so we've gone up the nearby ramp to the players tier. So now we're on the players tier. This is where we feed the nobles, give them those victuals from the top tier. So we're gonna turn right and feed the first one, and then we're gonna go south to find the other 4. Then we're gonna pop into the blue theater. And that's basically you want to place flowers in there. That's your main goal. If you want to do a side quest, you can find the band. The band has kind of gone a wandering throughout the theater, and they're supposed to be performing. So you can go and do that as well. Okay, so back into the game. We turned right, as I said, fed the first guy. Now we're going to make a U-turn, so we're going back as if we were going to the left when we came up that ramp. So going along here. And they do show up on your mini radar, so that's really handy, especially if it's the first time or two that you're trying to find them. So this is one of the other nobles that you're giving them some stuff. I believe this is one of the places where you would put firefly lamps for one of the particular firefly quests if you are doing that. I do have the firefly information, a lot of it in my document, so if you want to just kind of grab that and stare at it, I will, at the end of the video, make sure I pause so you can get a good look at it. So again, I suggest you read what these fun folk have to say. It's delightful, particularly the woman who hates bacon and then says, hey, can you put more bacon on it? Oh, no, nuts. Don't like nuts. It needs more nuts. And it's neat because they are changing their outfit, their look every day. It's the same person. Like this guy always has a hat. He's always very jolly. He always says that. But he looks a little different each day. So I'm enjoying that they're playing around with that. Okay, so we fed our nobles. We're ready to turn that on in upstairs. Now we're going to go to the blue theater. So notice I kept going after I fed the last noble. And we're going into the blue theater. Now, when the blue theater quest first came out, people found it really frustrating because there are 6 band players and they wander around. But there is, they always respawn in the same 3 or so locations. I've heard somebody say it is 3. I cannot confirm that. I haven't been really good about documenting. Once I started to find them, I kind of quit documenting. Encoding overloaded, it said. It said, encoding overloaded, consider... A whole bunch of stuff came up, and then now it's gone.
What does it say?
It was down here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, when you plugged it back in.
Yeah.
That's what it said.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah. So you do want to see our audio levels jump?
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to go back to looking for our folks. And this is what I have figured out roughly where they are on the clock. So I kind of follow that, and I use that as my guide as I'm looking for them. So we are currently in the 9 o'clock area, and we have lost track of Gord. So sometimes he's up here having a nice snack in this area, or sometimes somebody's over here on this balcony. Rarely in there, but if we haven't found him there, and again, because somebody else just found him, we may have to wait a moment for him to respawn. Looks like we have a couple other people on the same quest at the same time. Yeah, sometimes he's here. Okay, so we may just have to come back for him. But we'll keep going, because the next person we're going to look for is Daener, and she is... Now, I'll be curious to know if the LOTRO folks who put this together think of these names the way I pronounce them or not. Did I get her? We'll find out. Directing her to the stage? Oh, I did not catch her in time. She's always backstage, so that's amusing within itself. Sometimes she'll be standing right here. Sometimes she'll be standing... Well, she'll be sitting at that table. And sometimes she's on this side of backstage, hanging out by the fire. There she is. Hello. Hi, Daener. So this is the something misplaced, something blue quest. Kind of funny. So, yeah, and it's funny. You may be the one that is lost, my friend. Yeah, I think you are correct. All right, we're going to keep going around the clock. And sometimes I forget who all I have found, so you can check in your general tab because they do say, or wherever your output is, they'll have the little thing. Ah, here's Froki. So, luckily, we can both get in on this. Myself and this other player who's running around. Ta-da! So that's nice. So, oh, Gordo, I already got him. Or not Gordo, that's Robo. We already got him. Sometimes, yep. Oh, good. Yep, here's Hauler, standing up on the balcony. Dun-dun-dun. So I'm just going to double check, but I have found, so far, let's see, I have found Hauler and Robo, and Paula. Uh-oh. Oh, it's catching other people. Oh, no! I think I'm at 5 out of 6. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Gord is the only one we haven't found. And he, again, like I said, is at 9 o'clock. We are at 3 o'clock. So we're going to go through... Oh. Oops, I'm upstairs. I forgot I was upstairs. Well, all right. Just don't look if you have fear of heights. Okay, there we go. Said, don't look, Ethel. So we're going to run through here, and he's either upstairs or down here. There he is. So he's telling some very exciting story, I'm sure, about one of their recent gigs to these people who are all a captive audience at this table. All right. He's like, what? Stage? That could be anywhere in here. It is a large theater. It's pretty cool. So now we've found all 6 of our musicians, and we want to go back to down here where our quest giver is. So I often run back through the middle because there's fewer things that I'm going to run into. And so notice here now, they've respawned down here. So Froki is down here, and Robo is down here also. So that's why a lot of times when I come in, I'll check in there to see if they happen to be there already, and that's 2 out of the way if they are. So turn this back into Dulam. And we are done with something misplaced and something blue. All right, back to our notes, and we're going to scroll back down to our 30-minute advice. So we fed people, went up to the players tier, fed those people, a lot of food, a lot of flowers. It's great. It's a great place. Okay, continue south to the Blue Theater and place your flowers. We did that. Side quest, find the players. We did that. Now, if you are doing Fireflies and it happens to be nighttime, this isn't a bad time to go and do that, because next thing we need to do is basically ride to the stables and turn in that quest to that guy down on the second tier. So if you're already going to have to be taking a stable master, why not go away and come back and do it that way? So that is an option. Another option you can do at this point is, if you're like me and you have a milestone, you could milestone back to the ground. So we'll go ahead and do that. And do the Florist Daughter quest while you're there. And then, because you're going to not be too far from the ramp at that point, you just ride up, and Borlock is at the top of that ramp. And you turn in the quest there. Either way, when you're done with him, you're going to take the stable up to the Sages tier. So I avoid a stable taking, because I don't like to spend money, by doing this quest at this point. But it's really up to you and what you find enjoyable. Because really, I mean, that's the whole part of this, right? Is you want to be having fun. So if you're not having fun, then change it up. But I find this fun. All right, so I have milestoned back to the bottom. And I am, again, going to go south. A lot of turning and going south. Remember, we met these folks before. There's Phaleth, who gave us the quest. There's our stable master guy who helped us out. There's our city stables where we went and took care of those horses early on. So we're going to... Oh, and then if you are doing the epic line, out that direction is where you're going to find the procession and all the stuff happening out there when you get to that point. All right, so we're going to ride through some more of pretty Minas Tirith. And again, we're really lucky because the Florist Daughter that we're looking for, she's going to show up on our radar. She is... Whoop, we just passed her. There she is. So she's running around here, having a good old time. So hello. Oh, have you come to play? Oh, wait, you're supposed to be working, little one. That's all right. We're going to help her out. So she wants us to go and pick some flowers. She needs a bunch of flowers because they're making floral crowns, similar to the one I might be sporting, I would say. So those are going to be found all throughout this area. So I just do a lot of, you know, tab, you know, find it, click it, find it, click it. And you just pick up flowers. Now, what I've noticed is there's 2 right here, but I want to go and get more of them. And they are located south again, but there's a little bit of a stretch between where we are and where the next batches of flowers are. So I have a tendency to go ahead and just ride past the south guest house, which I believe is one of the things you need for the upstairs quests, if you're doing the epics. The banquet feast quests there, that's one of them. So now we've gotten past a bunch of building space, and we're going to turn and look over here, and now we see some more flowers. So we're going to pop over here and grab these. So you need to grab 10 sets of flowers. So over here you're going to find 3 in this area. So we did 2 up by the daughter. We've got 3 in this patch of grass with all these revelers nearby having a good time. So that's 5. Now we've got 1 across the street. So that'll make 6. And we go south again some more. You notice there's 1 already we can see in front of us, which guides us into this area where there are 2 total. 1 back here behind the revelers. Another one that we saw as we were coming in. So now at this point we just need 2 more. So what I find the most easiest way to do it is to go past the cart. Yes, there is 1 on the right, but there are 2 here on the left. And if I'm going to come over here to the left to get 1, I might as well just get both of them at the same time. So that makes 10 out of 10. Ba-ba-da-bum. So back onto our steed of the White City. Oh, just to point out, see this wonderfully pointy spot here on the ground? That is our little visual cue that the ramp is right around the corner. So we're going to come back to that here in just a moment. But first we have to go back north and turn this into the daughter. We're going to go hi to the daughter. So we've got this on our radar. Floral Crowns is the name of this quest that you're working on. Because she said, hey, I'm supposed to be making floral crowns. Can you go grab all those for me? And we're like, sure we can. We are happy to assist somebody having a grand time. So here she is running around again. Hello, my dear. Oh, well, hey, would you mind making those for me? No, I don't mind at all. So we're going to pop over here to this cute little checkered blanket. We're going to make up some floral crowns. And now we return to the florist. And remember, we saw the florist up on the top. So that quest is also complete. All right, back out. back south, and if you can't remember which is south and north, use your little radar, because it is easy to get turned around here. Absolutely. And just from a meta perspective, we are down here. That's the city stables. That's the milestone I used to get here, the only milestone in the city. And we are now riding south. We're going to this ramp right here. It starts at the bottom here, ends at the top here. So that's where we're headed to right now, in case you were trying to figure out on the map how to get to these places. Unfortunately, the ramps don't stick out more than they do, but basically they're the areas on the map that are less textured than other places, so that helps a little bit. Okay, remember that pointy spot we found on the ground? We found it again. So we just make a U-turn, go through these revelers. I'm so glad the horse doesn't knock people down. And up this ramp. And remember our inspired garden, or inspired artist? So we get to the top, we take a left turn, and he's straight in front of us. Easy peasy. Now, as they had mentioned in the guide, if we had done that, if we had taken the stable master to him, that would have brought us to the stables that are the stable master, who is right here. Ta-da! And in fact, we are going to go talk to the stable master, because they are going to be able to help us, my friend, take the stables up to the sages tier. So that's where we want to go. So, sages tier. Doom, doom, doom. Yes, please. 1 coin. And off we go. Now, why? Why are we going to the sages tier? We have 1 more barrel to collect. So we're going to go and we're going to do that. While you're up here, there is the Houses of Lore, and that is where the Something Floral quest can be accomplished. The Something Floral is its own quest. It's not the Arranging Flowers quest, it is Something Floral quest. And the Something Floral one can be done completely in that one location. So that's really handy if you want to knock out something really fast. But it does involve going up downstairs, so it can be a reason not to do that. Okay, so what did we say we're going to do here? We got up here to the sages tier. We are going to grab our horse, and we are going to go left/south. And notice we have a tunnel here, so we are going underneath the giant prow across the top. Some beautiful work down here. I don't know if the epic line brings us in here, but I certainly hope it does, because look at that gorgeous marble on that. All right, moving on. I just feel like I want to stop and have a picnic there sometimes. Now, one thing I noticed, I was watching somebody streaming the other day, and they were looking for quests, and they were going up and down stairs and trying the outer ring and things like that. I will tell you, I have not found anything in these quests that take us up on there. Now, maybe it's a shortcut to get from one place to another, but you don't need to go up on those ramparts for any reason regarding any specific quests that I'm aware of. So just to kind of give you a little heads up to maybe make your life a little simpler, you don't need to go up there. You won't find anything you're looking for up there except for beautiful views. All right, now we're coming into where there's some more houses and some more marble. And remember, we were talking about the House of Lore, the Do Something Floral quest. So we're going to go ahead and pop in and do that real quick. So there are 2 things you can do in here. Something Floral has 6 floral arrangements that you need to lay out. 4 of them are on the ground level where you come in, and 2 of them are found more upstairs. So here we are to this. And unfortunately, I haven't figured out how to get up here without really just jumping on the table, which seems strange. So for the role players among you, hopefully you found something a little more elegant. All right, and then since we're being inelegant, we just jump right over those people. And we've got 2 more floral arrangements here. So just kind of review. I'll show you where we are. So we came in this door over here. We came over to this table here. We did those 2 floral arrangements. We turned across, did these 2. Now there's a set of stairs. We're going to go up these stairs to the left. I like how as you go higher up the tiers, they get a little bit more and more ornate. Like downstairs, we have a lot more brick work, concrete look. And up here, we have more marble. It's very fancy. Right, so notice I just went straight. And now I've come to a run of carpet, or a big rug that's long and skinny. If I were to turn to the left, we found this lovesick plagiarist who had laid out some stuff on his table. No, don't thanks. And somebody opened a window and his stuff just went everywhere. So he's asked you to go and find his wayward verses, which is very reminiscent of another festival where you are tracking things down. So notice there's one of the wayward verses, and that person over there is going to grab it. So you can do that. You have to collect 6 of them. There are 3 up here, and they spawn downstairs. I am not going to take the time on that one because it does seem to be a long quest, or like it's a time sink. But we came from there. We came to here. Remember our long carpet? We got to here. If we turned left, we see him. If we turn right, we have floral arrangements. And these are the last 2 floral arrangements that we're doing for this particular quest. So we're going to try not to interrupt this person playing. Excuse me, pardon me, I'm just going to put some flowers over here. It's okay, don't pay attention to me. All right, so now we move back. Now here's where it can get a little tricky because you've got a small gap. This is where you want to turn and head back. Okay, so it took me a little while. Oh, there's another wayward verse. So they're all over this building, the wayward verses. If you want to do it, it doesn't take that long. I'm just not going to take the time right now. But yes, so when you're coming back here, maybe find some visual cues that help you to figure out, if you go back to Caladan, you've gone too far. That can be part of your visual cues. So I come back here. Now you can do as you're supposed to and run over there and run down the stairs and come back out the way we did. Or you can be a terrible, terrible person and just jump over the balcony. If you jump over this balcony, you're right by the front door. So I do that now. I used to run up and down the stairs, but now I just jump off the balcony. All right, so we have done, just now, number 15 here. Oh, wait, no, we didn't. We did, we did the Houses of Lore. We did something floral, and we didn't bother to do Caladan's quest. But I've picked it up. Sometimes what I do is I will pick it up and do 3, and then come back the next day, do another 3, turn it in. So it's an every other day quest for me. All right, so I'm back on my horse. We need to continue heading south, and the Thirsty Seer is right in front of us. So easy to get to. And if you've twisted your ankle in that last jump, you've probably fixed it by now. So what are we getting in the Thirsty Seer? We're getting our final barrel. And this is one where it also can be a little tricky to find when you first come in here because this place is massive. This is this huge place that you're in. It's amazing. So it's some really beautiful work if you want to run around and take a look. But basically, all right, so I just came in the door. Here's the door. I just came in. And I am going to turn right. And I'm going to take a big L. So we're going to run forward toward that giant fireplace. And we're going to hang left. Links. And we're going over here to this guy who always looks like he's lost and has a lovely cape on. And there's our barrel of ale. Right next to the well. And we've got that. And again, to go back, we just do the reverse. So we're going to make a left and then a right. At the giant fireplace, take a right, and we're back to the front door. If you get lost, if you cannot remember how to get there, again, you've got, I believe, a barkeep. She's possibly over here, and she'll tell you how to get there. And she also, is it her? Reminds you, she makes a comment about the well. Oh, it's not her. Well, somewhere in here is a woman with a ring over her head to help you find the barrel. They mention the well, which I think is a reference to the well in Moria. You cannot jump down the well so far. I've tried. Won't let you. Right, so we have done number 15. We went to the Thirsty Seer. We did that. So now we are ready to go and work our way back up to the top. So we are going to head back to the north, go past the Houses of Lore because we've already done it, and head up the ramp to the Master's Tier. The nice thing is as we're getting further and further up Minas Tirith, the tiers get smaller and smaller, so you find these ramps a lot faster. Let me go over to the game and show you on the map. Show you on the map. There we are. So we were just back here, and we did, that's where the Citadel and the House of Lore is. We're coming over here to this ramp right here. It's, oh wait, maybe I'm standing on top. Yeah, no, it's right there. So this one always tricks me up a little bit because I expect the beginning of the ramp to be over here, but it's not. The beginning of the ramp is actually over here. So just be prepared if you're looking for it on the map. This is the ramp you're looking for, but it starts on this side on the lower end and that on the upper end. So it is a little tricky, but if you're coming at it from this direction, it's a lot easier to find. So that's why I go to the end, of course, and then you come back. It's almost like the designers thought about it. So again, you come up here to some amazing views. They don't fall off. It won't let you fall off, just FYI. I think there's a couple places where you can scoot through, but there's a lot of invisible walls. All right, so we've come out here. If you're doing the epic line, you'll find Mithrandir around. Now there's two places we can go up here. There are the Houses of Healing, the High Hall, and then the Houses of Healing, House of Remedies. So a lot of healing on this level. If we go to the left, we're going to go to the Houses of Remedies, and that's where we turn in the letters for the Postmaster. He gave us letters to give to the healers. So we're going to pop in here, and I just saw somebody else go in here too, so hopefully we're not doing the same route as they are. But I have a route, and if I go off my route, it's going to mess me up. So hopefully we're either really far behind them or doing a different direction than them. So this, again, is a really large building. You'll notice there's a lot going on here, but really there's going to be 2 healers down here. There's going to be 1 in the middle. There's 2 healers in this area, and then there's 1 in a library-like area. I believe it's up in that space. So you'll see it. So first we're going to do, oh good, they're doing a different route than me. First I come to here. Here's the middle. I'm going to turn left. Now that doesn't get me into this lower hallway though. So we got to turn right. Now we can get out of this central area, so we turn left. But we're not there yet. Do we go that way? No, there's guards. They won't let us. We go right. All the way to the end to this really pretty wall decoration, the tapestry. Another left. And now we have made our way into this bottom hallway. It sounds a little crazy, but once you do it a couple times, it becomes really, really easy. And notice we are here in this bottom hallway. So we kind of had to go and weave our way around basically, but we're here. And look at that, there's a healer right here. So what you're doing is there's thank you letters that were sent and the postman wants you to deliver them. And so that's what you're doing here. And again, you should read through some of this stuff because they're grateful folks and it's nice. So there's 2 letters already delivered. And okay, so again, we're down here in this bottom corner. There's one of the healers, we've already given him a letter. So we're down here in this bottom corner. We are going to go straight up to the top, and we're going to find 2 healers in this area. Okay, so all the way up here. Go around the stairs. Keep going. Keep going. So one of the fun things about programming is not everything always comes out the way you want it to, right? So occasionally a healer will drop from the sky in this area, and it amuses me greatly. Ah, but here she is. I think they've actually fixed a lot of that. I haven't seen any fall from the sky recently. So there we go. We have another letter for this lovely lady. We have a healer who's often standing on the bed. I don't judge. So we have a letter for her. All right. So sometimes when one of those 2 resets, they just pop down from the sky, landing right in this area. So if you don't see either of these healers, just hang out for a few minutes, maybe walk back and forth. She'll show up. She'll land right on you. Okay, so we have done the 2 healers in this area. But remember I said there's one in a library style area over here, or maybe an apothecary. And that is this healer right here. And she changes her look every day. So that's kind of fun. So you give her a thank you letter. She's busy, but she'll take the letter. And then our last healer often will come walking out of the middle, and he's right here. But if you don't find him right away, go ahead and pop into the middle, and he's usually somewhere in this ring or in the center ring. So where we are here, he'll be sometimes walking around here, sometimes he's walking around here, but it's usually in this northern part of that section. All right, we're done. We want to go to the exit, which is that, uh-oh, there we are, that direction. So sometimes I'll do that on the map. I'll turn myself the direction I know I need to go, because otherwise I forget where the door is. Boom, there's the door. Now that one, you have to return back to the Postmaster to turn it in. So you could treat that like an every other day quest if you want, where you pick it up one day, turn it in the next, pick it up the next day, turn it in the next. Or you could just make a special trip. It's really up to you. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll go back and turn it in right away, especially early on in the festival where I want to get a lot of tokens really fast. I'm at the point now where I've bought almost everything and sometimes multiples. So I don't have a need to buy more stuff right now. Okay, so we've come out of there. And we are going to go back slightly to the north. Remember, the ramp we came up is right there. So when we came up, we went and did the House of Remedies there. Now we're going to go over and do the House of Other Healing over here. And sometimes I forget which one this is, but I saw a screen cap that really made sense to me. There's this planter here, and that kind of stuck out to me. I was like, ah, that's how I can find this door. It has one planter on one side, and this is the Houses of Healing, the High Hall. Now, in our 30-minute run around, this is one of the ones that is included. It is pretty fast. So we have some noisy revelers, and we have some untidiness happening around here. So first thing we do is we go up here to Irith, and she is going to ask us to maybe get some of the noisy revelers to stop reveling in the middle of a, place where people are trying to rest. So that's what we're going to do here. Whoops, sorry about that. So I don't have a optimized path here yet. Basically what we have is we are here, and there are stairs on either side. This will lead us back to our quest giver because she's always right here. But the only way back to her is through those stairs. So you can go and make the circle. You'll have more than you need, though. You'll finish about 2/3 of the way around. So you can do 2/3 of the way around and come back, or you can do half and half. There's a couple down here. Again, like I said, I haven't quite found the most optimized path yet. I'm working on it. But this noisy revelers, they do come back, and you can redo the same ones again and again. So sometimes it's worth going ahead and doing a reveler in an area where you're picking up the half-empty bottles. But you do have to do 10 of the bottles, and only 6 revelers. Now, there's 2 empty bottles in this area to pick up, or half-empty bottles. How wasteful. So you can get those 2 done, and then you can pop up to here. And what you'll have in this area is you'll have revelers wandering around, standing around in here with messes. And then there's these pockets of people recovering. And there's anywhere between 1 and 3 in each of these pockets. So that can be really a good use of your time to pop into one of these pockets, especially if it has 3 of them, because I'm going to grab 3 right here. So that's fast. Quick and easy. Boom, boom. And there's the 3rd one. You cannot jump over the wall in between here. I mean, I guess it makes sense. They're trying to heal people and stuff. They don't want people jumping over walls. But it would have been convenient. So you can't jump over the wall. You have to go in and out. All right, I'm already up to 6 bottles. And we have a noisy reveler. She doesn't look that noisy to me. I wonder if she just has like a really high laugh or something that bothers people. Because she doesn't look terribly noisy. Here's another bottle. We'll grab that. Now this guy, yeah, I could see this guy. Like he's very animated. I could see how he'd be interfering with people getting some rest. All right, did I already pop in here? I'm not finding any empty bottles here. Oh, I didn't go to the middle one. Alrighty, we'll step into here. Yeah, the half-emptied bottle of Baron's blood. That's quite the name for a drink. Although I suppose if you're Klingon, why not? Blood wine. All right, so we've got 8 of those done. And look, our noisy guy is back. Buddy, I said keep it down. He has to finish that story, apparently. All right, so now we've got our 10th. No, sorry, that's 8. So let's be number 9. And see, as I said, we're about halfway around, so we have to just go halfway back. Again, I haven't figured out an optimized way of doing this. But there we go. And 1 more bottle over here and 1 more reveler. And we go back to the bottom. So there's all that. Are you like the other guy's cousin or what? You guys, keep it down. All right, so now I'm here. I just need to get back down these stairs. So that's not so bad. And no, I have not figured out a way to jump through any of the foliage. So you do have to walk around like a normal person on rails here. Okay, so, and I love all these quest givers. They're like, hey, maybe you should come back tomorrow. I'm guessing we're going to need more help. So, all right, so that is 10 of 10 for me. So if I wanted to, I could be done. I wouldn't have to go to the top and turn in anything. All I would need to go is back to the bottom to Faileth and turn in what I've done so far. Turn in the wrapper. But we don't have to do that. That's just because I've been doing a lot of side stuff. So, but if you hadn't done that, you're going to ride back to the top and turn in the quests, and then you pop back to the bottom and turn in the wrapper. So we're really at the end. So remember that we came up that ramp. That was over here. Well, now we want to go to the ramp that takes us up and up and up. So, got on my horse. I'm going away from the ramp that we started with. And remember early on when we came along and there was this area I was trying to explain where the ramp is. That's the tunnel back to the stable master, who is the highest stable master we have. And this is the ramp that takes us back up to the top. So we're really close to where we need to go. So that is really convenient, and I appreciate that. So we go up this ramp. We're going to make a U-turn to the right. A lot of switchbacks. Another U-turn to the right. Don't run into the walls. Turn to the left past the guards. And voila, we are back to the top. So, to our wedding planner. She says, oh, that's fabulous. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to go check on your work. She may be not as trustful, but she's very glad that we picked up the alcohol she needs. We've turned in the wedding supplies. We found the 4 barrels that she asked us to go find. And we're done with her. Now, again, we have the lightning in a bottle quest, which we're not going to work on today. And I've already finished those, so you can redo them. You can keep going. You just need to do 2 of each one. 2 Sapphire Fireflies, 2 Rubies, etc. Anyway, so over here to the cook. Remember we went and fed those nobles? Hello. There you go. Good luck. We'll be back tomorrow. And we go towards Frodo and Sam. One of the Florist quests, remember, auto-completed. The other one we do need to turn in. The one where we did the Floral Crowns. So we bring those back up to her and let her know that her daughter is going to sup with her father this evening. So we get 3 coins from her and some experience, and that one is also completed. So that's everything that you're going to turn back in at the top. Now we need to pop down to the bottom and say hi to Faileth, because we want to turn in that wrapper and get credit for that, right? So whatever you've done, either you can milestone yourself back to Mickle Delving and take the stable master in if you don't have a milestone to here. You can milestone down to the bottom. Again, I like to buy extra milestones for each of my characters so that I can assign something to festivals when they are happening. Or when I'm in the middle of questing out in the world, I can always have a couple of milestones to get me back and forth to where I need to go. This character also happens to be a hunter, so she can go everywhere. I love the hunter teleportation system. Okay, remember we milestoned down, so we're back to this area. And there she is with her gold ring over her head, waiting for us to come and say hello. We did not fail today, Faileth, thank you. So, did we have fun? We had fun. And she says, thanks a lot, come back tomorrow. So, you can tell we're in the middle of the multiple quests for her. And we've got the Fondness for Festivity, that's one of the wrappers. We've got the Majesty of Midsummer. So, working on that, those are the tiered wrappers that you're working on. Okay. So just to finally go back and review for everybody, if you want to do the quick half-hour version, here are the instructions on that. Again, you will want to skip over any of those side quests that I have listed out. I did try to bold the name of the tier for you so you know when you're using the Stable Master which tier you're needing to pick up. So that's the first part of it, and there's the end of it. Now, as I noted, I do not have listed in here when you return to the Postmaster. That's something you'll need to figure out when you want to do that, when you want to add that in. A lot of times I'll do that now or some other place in between where I feel it's convenient. Sometimes I'll just come back later on in the day. So, and if you want to look at my complete notes, here's where it starts. So again, as I mentioned, all of the quests give you 3 Midsummer tokens, except for the wrapper, like we just turned in, or unless it's otherwise noted, anything that gives you one of those kits will only give you 1 of the tokens. Stables are, you can find the stables throughout Middle-earth to get yourself here. And then once you are here, these are the different stable masters as they are known by name and location. Because a lot of the quest givers will say, oh, go to the 3rd circle. But what does that mean? So Craftsmen tier is the 3rd circle, so you have that to use as a reference. So to get started, you grab the wrapper from Phalith. She's at the ground level, right here where we are. Things that you'll find all over the place. What Ails You is on multiple locations. Arranging Arrangements is also on multiple locations. And this is just 2 of them. We didn't even go and do the 2 that are in the Hall of Air, which is a beautiful place, by the way, because we were able to complete that in other places. If you are doing the Fireflies that go to the Hall of Air, maybe you'd want to do the Arranging Arrangements there. Then, starting on the 1st tier, the ground level, also known as the Workers tier, you will do the Stable Hands. You can do Floral Crowns. Up on the 2nd tier, that's where you do start with, you do to the last drop, which is the, you pop up to the top, and then starting with these, you've got to the last tier on the 2nd tier, drop, Artistic Direction, Toss a Coin, Growing Pains, Unhelpful Hounds, and What Ails You. 1 of the barrels is there. Actually, 2 of them. Yeah, Splintered Shield and the Moonmocking Keep. Once you get to the 3rd tier, we'll scroll down here. You've got wedding supplies that you can pick up, and all the wedding supplies are on the 3rd tier. So if you are looking for them other places, you're not going to find them. You're only going to find them on that 3rd tier. Sweet Treats is on the 3rd tier, Without a Hitch, where you do one of those crafted items. Emerald Fireflies get turned in on the 3rd tier, or get set out if you are doing those. What Ails You and Arranging Arrangements. Going up to the 4th tier, Lightning in a Bottle, the Sapphire Fireflies, they get placed out on the 4th tier. Tasty Morsels, where we went around and fed the nobles. Something Misplaced, Something Blue, that was inside the Blue Theater. And Arranging Arrangements, you can do 3 of the arrangements there. Up on the Sages tier, or the 5th tier, that's where you get to Something Floral, Love in the Air if you do his quest. The Ruby Fireflies go there. Those are the ones that go in the Hall of Air. What Ails You is also here. Up on the 6th tier, the Masters tier, that's where the High Stables are located. Oh, sorry, we got a little typo there. I'll catch that later. Sometimes I'm in the document and I think I'm in here, and so I'm like moving myself around and I start typing in there. I try to catch all those, but occasionally I miss one. A Cure for All Ills is here, honoring healers from the Postmaster. The Amethyst Fireflies, if you're putting those out, those lanterns go on the 6th tier. So you'll notice the Firefly quests take you to various locations. And then back to the top to turn in a bunch of things. Now, also, there are 4 locations outside of Minas Tirith where you can do various quests. One of them is, if you go and do your dailies, that would be like on the hill. That's where you pick up the cook ones. You can go to Bree. That's where you pick up the tailor woodworker ones. You can do Eredluin in the north, where the dwarves will send you out and about. Or you could go down to the south, and that's where the elves will send you out and about. And so I tried to list those out there. So Eredluin South, you're going to Kellendim and to Doolin. If you're doing the other ones, they're in Thorn's Hall, for example. So I might do the Bree one to show if anybody's having trouble with that. Let me know. I do have kind of a route that I do inside the Prancing Pony. But aside from that, the other ones, you can figure it out. Or if you have any questions or want some help, I'm happy to help. All right, and then we're back down to the short list. So I hope this was really helpful. I hope that this made a lot of sense. Again, holler at me if you leave a message in the YouTube on the chat at the bottom, or send me a message if you know where to find me on Discord or in the game. And I'm happy to do any other walkthroughs that you might find useful and helpful. All right, thanks so much. I hope you enjoy the Midsummer Festival. It is a lot of fun and it's beautiful. And so thank you to LOTRO for putting this together for us all to enjoy. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.